And there is another memory that I do have, and it is of being in some kind of a store and Santa Claus. I think this was in Texas when we was in Texas, because it was Christmas time, and I was about that age, and I can remember that I had got this aviator's helmet type thing. It's a leather strap that went down, and it buckled underneath there, and it had goggles up here, like the old biplane pilots of the Second War, had. And I remember having that. And I remember the Santa Claus, they took me to see the Santa Claus, my grandma did. And so I can remember I was kind of excited, but then I wasn't because I was embarrassed, to get up there. And I can remember getting up on his lap, and that Santa Claus stink. I can tell you that. He smelled bad. But anyway, I could smell booze on his breath and everything else. And by the way, I have a picture of that. I have a picture of that. But I can remember that because of the cap and everything. And I can remember, and I didn't stay on his lap very long, I want to tell you. But anyway, that's just another memory that I do have, that I know that I was before I was 5 years old. And then the other memory that I have is actually my fifth birthday. And I can remember standing out on the lawn there at California, 400 California Street in McFarland, and this birthday cake. I can remember that, and I have a picture of that too. Art, my uncle, was a hobbyist photographer. He took pictures all the time. He had his garage was converted into what do you call it? Where you develop pictures. In other words, he'd take his own pictures and he'd develop them. He could blow them up and everything. And the shame about that, or the sad part about that, is that at one time, when my grandpa died, well, the only thing that I really took that was his was a big suitcase, and it was full of pictures, absolutely full of pictures, with all of that Art had took, and he was about they was about a bunch of different people, but all of these people had to do with him, and a lot of them with my mother, and I mean a whole bunch of stuff, and it was in that suitcase. And I can remember when we moved to Taft and lived up there on a lease house. Well, I had this suitcase, and I also had put a bunch of other pictures in it because didn't have a place for them there, at the time. And anyway, I put them in that suitcase, and that house that house that we're staying in, there was also a barn out there. And so I put these pictures, this suitcase, in that barn, and almost forgot about it for years until we got ready to move. And the barn leaked, and it got the suitcase wet, and it ruined all of them pictures. And since I've got older and have went through and put every picture that we had, we had picture, cameras that would take pictures forever. That is one thing. When me and Rosie got married, we always had a camera, and them pictures. After I retired, well, I took the time to take all of my pictures that was left at that time and convert them digitally to where I could save them on a disc, or a disc. That's what I had mine at the time. Now it's thumb drives and hard drives, and stuff. So I tried to preserve all that. And then the other disaster was, not only did all of them pictures get ruined that was in that suitcase, all of the old pictures that Grandpa had, plus a lot of them that we had when the kids was young. I really regret that. And then out of these few pictures compared to what they was that we had left, some way there was a box that was in the back of the pickup when we moved back to Bakersfield that blew out or something, and we lost them. So we really lost a lot of pictures of our kids in that time back when we first got married and everything. There's a few of them survived, but that really bothered me because I spent, I don't know, 6 weeks, just countless hours every day scanning these pictures into a digital format to where I could save them. And I've spent a lot of time being some retired. I have the time, that's one reason I retired when I did. I love my job, but I just wanted the time. I had figured out by then that it really isn't money. Is if you got enough money to where you can live decently and have a chance to go on a trip once in a while and get the things that you need and everything, time is the most valuable thing that you have. Anyway, that's the way that I see it. And anyway, I went through them and I get melancholy. I look through them. I love seeing all of the old pictures and in recent years the memories that have been captured on video, which spurs the reason that I'm making this series of videos that I want to try to pass along. My kids have probably already seen, know most of these stories, not all of them, but they know most of them. My grandkids know a lot of them and stuff. But my granddaughter don't know nothing about it. I don't know how long I'll be around to be able to tell her, and if she'll even be, when she's young, be skeptical to even wanting to know. And I don't know how if anybody else wants to know. But I'm making them up anyway, so if some of the kids and grandkids and great-grandkids and their kids, if they ever want to know a little bit about their heritage or in the past, that they will have a way to understand a little bit about the times that we lived in, that me and Rose lived in. And the reason this is so important to me is that I can remember, like I said before, I was raised up with my grandpa most of the time. I mean, I lived with, anyway, most of the time I was raised up by my grandpa after Granny died. And the thing of it is that he used to tell me stories. And he was older, and I would, my goodness, when I first went to live with him, I must have been, I think in the 6th grade or 5th grade. No, not the 6th grade. Anyway, a long time ago. And he used to tell me stories all through my life. When I talked to Grandpa, I can remember him talking about stories. And what you have to remember, when he was young, they rode horses as much as there was cars, to go around. The roads wasn't that plentiful, especially in Texas, I guess. But they rode horses a lot, and I have a whole deal that I'm going to do about my grandpa. I will try to get into it. I get started on that subject and I can't get off of it. But anyway, that is kind of the foreground for all of the memories and why I'm doing the videos and explaining a little bit about some of the stuff in the memories that I don't go through explaining each time, to where you kind of have an idea of why the situation was like it was when I had the memories.